It just doesn't, I don't go past that.
That's fine.
So Egypt Burgess is with us, and Jamie Alexander is also with us. I am hoping that, Jamie, your connection through Zoom is going to be with us. Let me just check a couple of things here to make sure. Regina, give me your best hello for the morning so I can test the audio. Oh, goodness. Hold on just a minute, girl. Let me get that squared away. We're going to be... oh, my gosh. Where is my... There's Jamie. Talk to me, Jamie. I think I'm going to need Henry to come in here and get my sound through the picture. Good morning, Jamie Alexander is with us. She's with Jamie's Touch photo studio, and she is the reason that I have Egypt sitting next to me and Regina coming to us through Zoom. I'm so pleased and honored to have you guys here with me today. And you know, it's interesting. I don't think we were as prepared for technology as we should have been as the pandemic came upon us. But now that it's here, we just have to adjust and adapt as best we can.
For sure.
Yeah. So today's topic is about identity, image identity, from the female perspective. And one of those perspectives is that I want to touch on is the one through the eye of the camera, which is what Jamie brings to us. And looking at these wonderful, vibrant images, both men and women, but today we're going to focus on the female perspective. In my world, I deal with elite athletes and high-performance executives. And in some cases, those high-performance executives are elite athletes as well. What they don't have a lot of is a female perspective, even though they have a feminine side. I talk about it a lot in the training I give to them so that they can get in touch with those intangibles that make them even more vibrant and more vulnerable to the things they need to open up to. So in talking to the sources, the female sources of that attitude, is going to enhance my audience's perspective and also give my grandbabies, those granddaughters that I have, an insight as to how they can be better at being themselves and improving the identity of their image. So I start off every week on a Monday with a quote in our Mindset Moments. And this week's quote goes like this: "Style is something each of us already has. All we need to do is find it." And Diane von Furstenberg, I figured she would be a great source of that kind of insight. And that's the quote from her. "Style is something each of us already has. All we need to do is find it." So I'm asking each of you to take a look at that as we talk about the identity of your image. So let me start off by looking at that through Jamie's eyes. So Jamie, share with us a little bit about what you as a photographer in your business have done to promote that image identity, but also tell us a little bit about your practice. You know, what you're offering to these wonderful people as a photographer of models, but also all the different areas of your entrepreneurial efforts. You do a lot of things other than just look through the lens and capture the images of the people you talk to. So share with us, what is it that Jamie's Touch does? He's getting it through the studio in there.
Do you want me to exit out and ask him?
That would be a great idea. Try, yeah, thanks. asking why we're not getting our volume in here.
She has no audio.
I'm not getting volume through here.
Hmm?
I'm not getting any volume through here.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not. It didn't look like it was connected.
Tell her her audio's off.
Jamie, take a look at take
Your
a
audio
yeah
mic.
take a look at your audio mic in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Click on the microphone that you've got there. Not the camera, the microphone. It should be a little red thing.
Yeah, she's on.
You're still off. You've got that microphone in the very bottom left. See, it's red. Click on that microphone. There you go. Now talk. Still can't hear.
How about the other gal?
Regina, give me your thoughts and start talking. Let's see what you've got for your sound. Yeah, I got nothing from either one of them. Yeah, that's the delay.
Just a second. Display. You're on.
I don't know what's going on. I mean, you can try this just one time. All right, Gina, give us your best description, Regina, of what you find in your modeling career as some of the things that have, because you're also in the therapeutic business. You're in helping others on a daily basis. So why are you in the modeling biz?
Well, I'm in the modeling business because I enjoy just being me. I enjoy being me and doing things that make me feel good. And being a plus-size curvy model, when I get behind the camera, I just smile and I just embrace every curve of my body. And I let the world know that it's okay to be able to love yourself no matter what.
Well, Regina, with a smile like that, I think it projects everything you just said without even saying a word. So let me, with that, that's a great segue. Let me come back to Jamie a little bit now that we've got the sound issues taken care of. Jamie, explain to everybody from your side of the camera, when you capture great images like Regina and Egypt in digital formats, what are you looking for through your eye and your persona and your image as a businesswoman to really project who they are? What are you looking for?
Actually, I have been very blessed with Regina and Egypt because they go right into mood right when we start shooting. Their smiles, their movements, their charisma is always great. I mean, beyond great.
I don't know if you can see the smiles as you're saying those things, the smiles on Egypt's and Regina's faces as you say that, because that tells me that you're very effective at communicating what you want them to do, and they quickly
Not really, they kind of catch on their own, but...
Girl, I'm trying to give you a compliment here.
Oh, thank you.
Now, as I say that, I'm really captured by the black and white photography and images behind you. I'm really glad that you have that setting behind you, because it allows me to segue to Egypt and what she does in not only being a model, but a model, a mom, an entrepreneur. So I'm going to ask her to kind of tell us a little bit about that entrepreneurial spirit that you have and how you project that through the camera, and also some of that imagery that you want to give people about being yourself naturally and genuinely, because a lot of what you do cosmetically helps you to move that image forward.
For sure. So for me, so you want to know how I started?
Yeah.
I had an issue with my color, my skin tone.
Yeah.
I didn't feel beautiful. People always made me feel as though, being dark skinned was a bad thing. So that's what I associated it as. And, so I can honestly say that I had dealt with a low self-esteem issue. And one day it just occurred to me, people would always tell me, oh, you're beautiful, you're this and that, for a dark-skinned girl, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
So I never understood what that meant. And one day I just, woke up like, listen, this is me. I can't change anything about me, and I love who I am.
Yeah.
I appreciate the compliments, but at the same time, I needed to feel that within myself. So the camera and, it made me feel wanted. It made me feel loved and appreciated,
Yeah.
For who I was and genuinely who I was. So being in front of the camera, it just solely speaks to who I am authentically as a human being. It allows me to let my light shine, so to speak.
So when Jamie's talking about the environment that she promotes as a photographer in the studio, I'm trying to get her unmuted. There we go. So Jamie, I'm going to ask you to unmute your microphone in just a second. As I talk to Egypt about that environment, coming from a place where you didn't feel like you were projecting who you were, you had that self-confidence issue. Does the environment have a lot to do with promoting or diminishing that self-confidence for anybody?
Does the environment?
Yeah, like you're in there with a photographer. That's you projecting you. So I'm wondering if you take yourself out of that environment with somebody as wonderful as Jamie helping you project yourself, and you get in a mall. You're going to someone's house you've never been to before.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel yourself kind of getting back into that self-confidence modality and trying to, project your image?
I think being with Jamie, she is one of the few people that has literally made me feel important. I enjoy shooting with her. Her whole entire, as she spoke about charisma,
Yeah.
her entire vibe just makes you feel wanted, and makes you feel appreciated. And that's pretty much so.
So Jamie, it's back to you. What do you do to help people feel appreciated when they get in front of your camera? What do you say to them?
It just, once we get together, it just starts to flow. The magic stuff, it's just magic
So
that's happening.
Are you setting up the studio in such a way, or a location that promotes who you know and what you know about in Egypt or Regina?
We can shoot anywhere. So anywhere is our location. All we need is a wall, a small little area, and the girls take it from there. I answered that correctly.
Well, there's no correct answer. I want to get to this essence of what people feel in your presence. So Regina, I'm going to put it back to you, because you started off your whole introduction with the comfort with your own self, that plus size persona that you have. What do Jamie, or the environment with Jamie or without Jamie, what does it look like for you to really just enrich that experience for yourself?
Jamie makes you feel comfortable. She takes everything out of you. You know what I'm saying? And like she said, that magic. When you're there and you shooting with Jamie, I'm telling you, she gets you to sit there and use. She loves hands. She loves something about the hands and how she wants you to move. And sorry.
That's okay.
I think I got phone call. Oh, okay, sorry.
You're good, girl.
She loves you to be able to use your hands and be able to, pose and strike a pose and smile and embrace all your curves and everything about that. So that's what I love about Jamie. She gets it all out of you, And if it's a model that has never did a photo shoot, she will make you feel so comfortable and so at ease. And then next thing you know, like she said, the magic flow, and then next thing you know, you're with her for hours. Because she's such a delight. I enjoy working with Jamie.
So let's
I enjoy you too, baby.
yeah, let's extend this conversation to you're going to go to an event, whether it's with Jamie or go to work or wherever it is that you're going to wake up to expect to go to. What are your thoughts when you wake up about your image and your identity? What's the first thought that comes into your mind when you swing those legs over the edge of the bed and you're thinking about, oh my God, I got this in front of me today? Where does your head go with regard to preparing yourself and what you represent? And I'm going to start off with Egypt, and then I'm going to go to Regina and end with Jamie. What's your first thought when you start the day?
For me, I'd have to say that I represent all women who struggle with an identity crisis. For me, I represent, the African American woman.
Mm-hmm.
I represent all women of color. Like I said in my blog, we're all sisters at the end of the day. We're all going through some type of healing, growth. So I just want to be able to say that when I wake up in the morning, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday, what happens, throughout my day.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a blessing. I have to wear the smile on my face, So I just have to. I wake up just saying that, how am I going to inspire the next? To be honest, there's not a day that I just,
Yeah. And in Egypt, when you do that and you interact with people throughout the day, from whatever the event might be.
Mm-hmm.
What is your strategy for adapting and adjusting those things and people that come at you that might diminish or promote your identity?
I don't want this to sound cocky by any means necessary, but there isn't a soul. I've learned so much about myself that there isn't a soul that can intimidate me anymore. So I own my environment.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel comfortable wherever I am. I socialize. I love people. So I own it. I own my environment.
And that's a great segue, Regina, to you, because they're in our world, and I don't mean to be offensive, but I'm just going to be straight at you with it. The plus size image wasn't and hasn't been and may still not have the deserved appreciation that it should. And that I'm trying to leverage off of what Egypt just said, because she's obviously a standard size model and you're a plus size model, and yet you both confront the world in different ways because of that identity. So share with me, what are your first thoughts when you break the sheets in the morning about my image, my identity, my brand moving forward? What is it that you do?
Well, I'm definitely a queen, and I'm a queen of different. I wear several hats. As being a wife, a mother, a grandmother along the way, also a mental health therapist and a musician and singer. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do, I just thank God for allowing me to wake up in that power of the breath, which is life. And as being a mental health therapist, I tell my clients, to be able to wake up and start your day and have good intentions of what your day is going to be like, and try to implement those positive thoughts and being able to take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, self-care is very important for each and every one of us. So what I do, as soon as I wake up in the morning, I do things that I enjoy to start my day, and that is to take care of myself first. Because like I said, I have multiple hats that I have to wear, and I got to take care of Regina. And that is one way to inspire other people, especially models, to say, even though that we're busy doing this and doing that, you have to make sure you take care of yourself, do things that you love and you enjoy.
Gosh, you guys are making this show easy for me, because you're just segueing right into everything. So as I move from you, Regina, to those wonderful comments to Jamie, I want to set this up, Jamie, by asking you it this way. I have a concept I share with athletes and executives that's called it's all about you. Now, I say that to them, and some will twist their head a little bit, and they'll go, what do you mean? I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to be, self-centered. I said, no, man, I'm not talking about being self-centered. I'm talking about you got to present you first, because if you're not good to you first, you can't be good to anybody else. So it's not selfish, it's self-aware, and putting yourself up there. So you got to have that swagger coming out of the morning with it's all about me first, because if I'm not good for me, I'm not good for anybody else. So Jamie, how do you bring that out with a brand new person, a brand new model that's coming to you, or just someone who's going to get their picture taken for a birthday party or a graduation? What do you say to them to bring out that it's all about you, so that they project their image to you in a way that's representative of the best of who they are?
Well, when they get to me, I let them know it takes at least 15 minutes to warm up. So 15 minutes in between our time, it's all about them, really, to get used to the camera, the environment, to get used to their awareness of their body, their movement. Comfortable with me, and like I said, that magic just comes out and flows.
You know, I like the fact that you're looking at movement as a method to get them to focus on themselves, because it seems, for me it's obvious, but not for everybody, that movement is a center that you have to think about you to move, to make it happen. You know, it's trite to say that the Nike quote of "just do it." Well, that's interesting, but I always tell people, you know, to be able to just do it, you have to think first. You got to have the brain connected to the body to be able to just do it. So, as I say that, I want to ask you guys about the world around us. Obviously, we're in an emergency situation, an urgency of sorts, with the pandemic, and being able to deal with that. So, what, if anything, and I'll start with you first, Jamie, what, if anything, are you seeing different in the behavior of the people in your world about their capability of projecting their images in a positive way? Are they diminished because of what's going on, or is it status quo, or is it kind of an up and down day to day in watching people's behavior?
I think people are still acting as if everything is okay. I'm the only one walking around with a mask. But everybody is kind of still living their lives, doing what they do, and I guess just hoping that everything's going to be okay. So I think the world is still moving as is. Not much has changed as far as what I can see. So we're still rolling.
Yeah, and that's something to be motivated to promoted to other people, is keep moving, both literally and figuratively. Regina, I don't want to ask you to put your therapist hat on, but round out your comments about all the people that you see, and are you seeing a change in mood and attitude and movement reflective of our current times, or are you seeing people trying to, move through it and really enhance it?
Well, this pandemic definitely has affected a lot of us. There are people that are suffering with depression and anxiety and PTSD. And so as a mental health therapist, my goal is to reach out to them, give them those tools, those healthy coping tools that they can be able to do this. With this pandemic, it helps some and it definitely hurt others. So the most important thing I tell a lot of my clients is to make sure they check in with one another, check in with your elders, your elderly parents, making sure that, once again, we've been talking about self-awareness and self-care, making sure that you do something to keep your body moving, keep your mind moving, keep stimulated, because unfortunately we have a lot of people, all over, from elderly to even young people, they're at home and they're confused and they're saddened and they're depressed and have anxiety. So that's why it's important to be able to check on with each other and making sure you find things to be able to do to keep stimulated throughout this.
Yeah, I'm liking the fact that you said keep reaching out, connecting with people, and I'm just gonna I'm the guy that keeps the rules in line, right? So practice good social distancing, wash your hands, wear a mask when necessary in public, because we have our state is doing the right thing. We're managing things pretty well, but as is typical around the country, we still have those knuckleheads out there doing things that they think they're invincible, and be mindful of that. So as I say that, I'm going to shift gears to that more cosmetic look of feeling good about yourself. What you wear, what you put on your skin helps project an image, keeps you in a good place. And part of your business, Egypt, is helping people with that look.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing and feeling from other people about how they want to enhance their look. You know, put on that cosmetic appearance, that imagery that helps them. I hesitate to call it makeup because there's so many different, there's so much stuff out there.
Yeah.
So please talk about that a little bit from your perspective.
I think from my perspective, it has to do a lot, what I heard you say, Ms. Regina, about self-care. It's important, and I think that we're in such a profound time. Everybody's doing the same thing right now, but it's all about how are you utilizing that time. A lot of people do need to work on themselves, self-image, self-care. You know, take the time and understand what are your weaknesses. What are your toxic traits? You know, there's so many things. It's about, to me, take the time to heal yourself, and get to know who you are as a person. You know, understand what it means to sit down and enjoy your own company. We don't always have to be out on the go. Just sit down and relax and understand and love you genuinely. Like you said, self-care is important. All these self-awareness, read things about self, take care of you, because nobody's going to love you better than you love yourself, you know. So at this point in time, I see a lot of people who are not utilizing this time wisely, to get to know themselves so that you can be a better person for others around you.
Oh, that's a great point. And we have no excuse. We have plenty of time.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen grocery stores cleaner than they are now.
Yeah.
You know, so they've got time to do things to make our worlds better. And with these, you know, kind of social distancing and self-quarantining, you know, just keeping things manageable, you've got time to do that. So I'm also going to point out that this pandemic has no preference towards money, social status, color of your skin, whether you're liked or not liked. It doesn't care. And when we can see that a Michelle Obama is struggling with her own mindset and imagery and dealing with the onsets of depression at whatever the degree is, we all need to kind of step back and take a look at self-awareness, excuse me, self-help, and come together as the varied cultures that we are. And part of my intent with the image identity theme for today was to emphasize Diane von Furstenberg's quote about, we got style. That's not an issue. It's discovering it, enlightening it, and enriching it so that we can project it in ways that is anchored in our own self-worth so that we can benefit others because of our awareness of ourselves. So as I say that, I want to mention everybody that next week we're going to talk a little bit about what my sports worlds are doing to create, an environment for the fans. Fans may not be in the stands. The products that you guys promote as models or that you present in your own businesses as entrepreneurs or as professionals are needed, but we're not able to go get them.
Okay.
We're not able to be out there in the public as much as we want. So I want to make sure that people make good choices out there. Take a look at what you're being offered, because there's some folks out there that are not they're unscrupulous. They're getting on the internet. They're taking advantage of people. This is my soapbox infomercial to make sure that people are aware and safe before we get into our next questions. But be aware of what's out there. Share, as Miss Regina had said, share with each other, talk to each other, work with the people that you trust to make sure that you're taking care of yourself in the worlds that you live in, and that you're getting the right things delivered at the right times. It's just such an interesting time we live in. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to come back to Jamie. And Jamie, I'm going to ask you a little bit about your business as an entrepreneur in just kind of the entertainment field. Not so much specifically as a photographer, But what are you seeing as images that are attractive to the merchandising world? You know, if I was selling a product and I needed to have an image to project that product and get people's attention, what are some of the characteristics of those images that you are seeing that are really attracting the attention of people? What's the hook?
Hello?
Did you get my question, Jamie?
I didn't get the last part of it.
What's
I'm sorry.
what's the hook? What are the things that you're seeing that in models and in images and identities that are really hooking people to pay attention? Is it a certain size, shape, color, words, backgrounds? What's really making the dynamics of an image hook people into taking notice?
Well, energy is always a plus. How you bring the product is always a plus, and confidence is always a it's beautiful.
I like
And
to,
whichever way the form is.
I liked your comment, Jamie, about confidence and shape and form, pulling those together. So with that being said, I'm gonna move to Regina and ask you, Regina, what are some of the things that when you're in front of the camera and you're listening to Jamie talk about confidence and shape and form, what are some of the things that you want to focus on with your movement and your projection to make sure that those kind of things come through? Did you hear my question, Regina?
No, you sound like a robot.
Jamie was talking about confidence as a good hook with
Yes.
people, and then the shape and form that is projected by that confidence. Give me some of your examples of what you do as a model in front of a camera to project that confidence and use shape and form as tools in promoting that confidence. Is it a movement? Is it a tilt of the head? What are you doing?
Well, it's all with the. So I use all of my nice features to be able to gain that beauty, you know, that beauty. So with my eyes, my arms, everything, so I use it to my advantage. And so, and it's also, like Jamie says, that confidence piece. So, with all that God has blessed me. Hope you heard me.
Yes, we did. There's a delay if the signal is not that strong. It'll come through. So I'm going to shift to Egypt now and ask her kind of the same question, but there's a difference in. Everybody has their own image, as you can see. Regina's got her image, Jamie's got her image, I've got my way I personify things.
Yep.
So when you're wrapping that presentation,
Yes.
You're talking to somebody about a product, or maybe it's just your image. What are some things that are going through your head that you want to make sure you emphasize? You want to make sure you posture a certain way or emphasize it a certain way. What are some things that go through your head?
If I heard you correctly before in the first
Mhm.
original question, you were asking about like in today's times, like
Mhm. Oh,
how
yeah.
are we,
Yep.
really modeling that,
Mhm.
that product or what the issues may be. Right now, my biggest thing that I have dealt with as a model has been colorism.
Mhm.
And right now we deal with a lot of racial biases, and prejudices, discrimination. So right now I think a lot of people, including myself, we try to project that in in our modeling, you know, in our photography, you know. So with me, when I model, I did one just recently with the infamous symbol, you know, Black Pride, Black
Yeah,
Power, you know,
yeah.
and I had to work that, you know, I had to work that image, and I had to make that image speak. I had to show you, you know, like, look, this is meaningful to me. It tells a story in this image.
And when you say speak, it's not just posture, it's also
not-
expression
it's
along with the posture.
expression, it's, you know, the body language, yeah, your body language
Yeah.
sells, the facial expression, everything, the makeup, the hair, you want it all to sell. You have this look, and you have to bring it, you know, to life. So it's important.
Well, and especially now, we're all in front of monitors.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sequestered at home, and we've got this terminal in front of us, and content is a big deal right now. There's not a lot of content because people aren't going back to the studio to shoot cable programming or movies or what have you. And I'm really just irritated that my favorite shows aren't being seen now. Look, we're all desperate to want to see the images come back.
Right.
So when you're talking to someone that wants to have their image project out, what are you recommending for them cosmetically to enhance that look, to move it forward for themselves? And I'm not necessarily saying female versus male.
Right.
I'm saying both genders. But from your perspective as a woman, what are you saying to them that's going to help them project that cosmetic image?
Don't get so caught up in what society is projecting with, you know, because I think right now there's a lot of Instagram, and not to discredit what another woman is doing, but there's a lot of Instagram models, Facebook model, anything else. Anybody can take a picture and say that they're a model, you know what I mean? But these images, you don't have to fake it. You know what I mean? I just want you to genuinely be you. You can be beautiful and not have, you know what I'm saying, the extra incentives on your body and add, you know, you don't have to.
So less is more.
Absolutely, less is more. Just be you. I just want you to just take a picture and just say, this is me. And I'm comfortable with who I genuinely am, and I don't have to change anything about my natural beauty to say that I'm a model.
Yeah. So Jamie, I'm going to come back to you and ask you kind of the same question about, you know, less is more, and what are, when you get a model that captures that, like these two wonderful women here, what are you through your lens focusing in on to bring that set of qualities forward to promote the product? In this case, it could be just the model is the product. I mean, you do pictures to promote their portfolios, but if it's a product that's in their hand, or as Egypt said, you know, she's doing the symbol was the issue in projecting that symbol. What are you saying to them to get them to project those kinds of images to sell the product?
Well, like I said, anything that's easy on the eye is sure that everything that I see visually through the camera is easy.
So you kind of have an advantage with these two young women here, in that they come to the table with a set of confidence that is easy to play with the camera. You don't have to do a lot of coaching, it sounds like.
Oh, yes, they take over, they know what they want to do.
So Miss Regina, what is your take on this image of, I'm going to project an image and I want to make sure that I have a specific focus on, well, I'll ask you this way. You're dealing with people every day, and you're trying to get things out of them to project to a certain issue they may have in your therapeutic stuff. So what are you doing to illustrate or coach them through that as a model, relying on some of your techniques as a model?
Well, I think that's pretty much in everything, in any type of relationship. The phone, and then we first met, it was just like, it was like a ball going off, you know. being me. And so I just use that same technique when I therapy, is to build that trust rapport so they can be able to speak up and be comfortable and be free and be bold.
I'm so glad that we have these perspectives here today. So Regina, Miss Regina, thank you so much for those comments, especially the one about trust. Boy, these times are tough because to maintain trust and the confidence of trustworthiness amongst people is very, very difficult, especially when it's charged with the energy, both positive and negative energy, as relates to the color of the skin. Where do you come from? What's your worth, both financial as well as personal worth? There's so many pushing and pulling things going on, and I'm so grateful for the three of you being here today to help talk about this image projection, the identity of an image. So I'm gonna shift gears a little bit and ask you to talk about where do we go from here? What's the outcome through this? I'm hoping it's going to end, and I think we all are, that it's going to go away. We're going to do the right things. We're going to get this settled, and so that maybe with what we're going through in practicing and implementing what our image and identity looks like, that we're going to get better. What's it going to take, Egypt, to get better, and what does that get better look like at the other end? What are your image for outcomes going, let's say, into 2021, and where the pandemic is gone? What does it look like?
To get better?
Yeah.
In the modeling industry,
or just? Yeah, well, modeling industry as a metaphor for projecting it forward.
To get better, again, I think it's just self-care. I think it just self-examination. I think it just starts with you. I think it's important to continue on with gratitude. Be the change that you wish to see, you know? Treat people the way that you want to be treated, honestly. The world needs more gratitude. Yeah.
Give me some examples of the way you would share gratitude with others.
Recently, I can use an example that I've done. I'm a giver, so I like to give. I mean, if whatever it is, if it's words of encouragement, if it is money, okay. If it is just to, sit down and let's just have a talk. That's just what I'm gonna do. If I need to pray for you, I'm gonna pray for you. If you need a hug, I'm gonna give you a hug. That's it.
What are some of the things that you notice that gives you that discovery of the need for the gratitude?
I have a discerning spirit, so it's easy. I discern wisely. To me, it's just all about listening. Listen to people. You never know what you're going to learn by just listening. Sometimes it just takes, I've learned in therapy, that the speaker-listener technique is so important. When you listen to a person and you're able to repeat back what I thought or I think I heard,
empathy.
Yes, I have a heart of empathy for sure. And just repeat back, what you heard, it goes a long way. So I think it's just important just to listen and understand.
You touched on a lot of different points there that are wonderful, that I practice every week because of the interactions I have with experts. And so, Regina, I'm gonna come to you, Miss Regina, and ask you the same thing, at the risk of repeating ourselves, but ask you to reflect on what Egypt just said, but at the same time expand on it from the standpoint of what do you think the future looks like as far as the positive change because of being empathetic, showing gratitude, being grateful in that gratitude, with thank yous and platitudes of appreciation, whatever it takes. But what are some of the outcomes you see coming because of that set of behaviors?
I think, yes, Egypt definitely expressed a lot of that. I think it goes back to being an advocate for yourself, being able to advocate your needs and your wants and things that you want in life, setting goals, short-term goals, long-term goals, being able to verbalize your feelings with feelings and emotions that we're going through, so we suppress and internalize those emotions and feelings. time, and people are going to be able to start advocating for themselves and be able to express emotions. You know, I see definitely some better.
Jamie, I'm going to switch to you, but I'm going to add a little twist to this because you've got two wonderful women here that you've worked with behind the camera, and so I want to ask you about your business a little bit and what you want to let people know about your business, because with Miss Regina and Egypt talking about themselves, they also promote what you do because you capture them on film. Well, that's old. Not film, digital. I gave away my age. So share with us, Jamie, what you think the future looks like for your business in the images that are going to get promoted forward, knowing that you've got these two wonderful people that you can continue to work with. But what do you want to say to people out there about finding you, getting involved with you? Because I know your website is jamiestouch.com, I believe. So give me some of that information about how do people get in touch with Jamie, what do you expect of them, and what the future looks like for you?
Well, I don't have a website right now. I've been working on I am working on my website. I have never been this busy. Almost every weekend, like 2 shoots.
So Jamie, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Both Instagram and Facebook.
Excellent. Regina, I'm going to come back to you. Is there any way that you'd like? Is there anything you'd like to share with people about how they can get in touch with you if they have questions for you about what you've said today, or engaging you as a model?
I actually have 3 different pages. I do have my personal page, modeling page, because I'm also a singer musician, so that's Curvy Model Musician Singer on Facebook. And I also have my husband Services LLC, and we have a page on Facebook that you can reach me.
Excellent. All right, before I turn it over to Egypt, I'll ask you guys to take a look at 360mindset.com. That's our website. I'll be reposting all of their contact information on my website. So if there was any gap in the communication here today, you'll be able to find it at 360mindset.com. So Egypt, how do people get in touch with you, and what are some of the things that you're going to offer through your business?
Yeah, so with my blog that is newly published this year, pretty excited about that. You can find that information. It's M, which is MMELANIN.com, or through social media, Facebook and Instagram. Not hard to find. The way my name is spelled, cannot miss me. So
let's make sure we spell that again.
Egypt is EEJIPT. And it's Burgess, B as in boy, URGESS. You can find me on Facebook that way, or it's just Egyptian on on Instagram, which is EEJIPTIAN. So if you just type EEJ, I'll come right up. Yeah. So
for those of you who are watching us over the internet through the camera versus audio, her face will pop up the minute you type in anything close to Egypt or Egyptian. It's a great connection. And as I say that, let me make sure that everybody knows that next week we're going to be rekindling our conversation about sports administration at the college and pro levels. Look, we're coming into, schools are opening, have opened. Some of them, it just scares me that they let them open because the pictures they showed of the hallways of kids elbow to elbow in the hallways in high schools in Georgia and across the country, it just almost like throwing disregard to science in our faces. It doesn't care, people. The virus, the pathogens, they do not care. They are going to get you if we don't honor the space with which we live in. So we're going to talk a little bit about that next week. The administrators recently, Colorado State University, my PhD alma mater, was in the news. There was some error in the reporting about CSU athletics endorsing that athletes don't have to wear masks. They don't have to honor the requirements. That's not true. They have been honoring the requirements. They've been diligent in following CDC guidelines, so I want to make sure I said that as well. Make sure you take a look at our website at 360mindset.com to take advantage of all the information we're going to send out there. We're trying to speak truth, as is evidence to my guest today, speaking their truth about image identity from a female perspective. Now, that being said, I also want to remind you that we have a contact with one of my clients. Our germicidal hand lotions, which are non-alcohol based, come to you through avcare.com. Go to their store, that's store.avkare.com, and get the germicide. It's hand lotion, and it kills all the germs, all the nasties, as well as the disinfectant that they have that is got a green footprint, and you can use a code that I will give you to get a discount. 360PERF, 360 Performance. That's the name of my show. 360PERF, and get a discount at the store.avcare.com. So as we come close, we got about 6 minutes left in the show today. I want to throw it back to Jamie first. And Jamie, share with everybody what you would like people to know about image and image identity, and how, from your perspective, they can make their image, starting with themselves first, with the best foot forward, and capturing that image.
Once again, there comes that confidence. Be aware of your body. To me is the key.
Excellent, excellent. Miss Regina, would you please share what you'd like people to take away from today's show from your perspective?
Be confident, come with some positive energy, and get ready to create some magic.
Excellent. I like that. So, Egypt, with those thoughts, confidence seems to be a theme for us, for all of us today. What's your take on what you want people to take away from today?
I think it's important for you to know that beauty comes in many forms. Let's see, there is a combination of aesthetics that create beauty. So it's the way you act, the way you speak, what you do. Just own who you are, and don't worry about the nouns. People, place, things,
yeah.
It can take advantage of you if you let it, but manifest in yourself and believe in who you are. So.
Yeah. Don't let the labels define you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share with you a couple of things we talk about on the show routinely. Here's a quote. It comes from one of my favorite books, The Art of War, which may sound a little bit contradictory to what we're talking about today, but it's written by Master Lao Tzu, and he talks about the mastery of self, which seems to capture in a different way some of the things we've talked about today. And that quote goes like this: knowing others is intelligent. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength, but mastering yourself is true power. Don't let the labels define you. Master yourself is true power. And this is from a master of many things hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So it's timeless. What he has to say about mastering yourself is timeless. But you need to know others to get to the power of self. So be aware, be self-aware, through an eye of a camera like Jamie does, or through your own eyes as you move through the world. Be aware of what's in front of you before it approaches you so that you can handle whatever obstacles come your way because you've given yourself time enough through that awareness to deal with it.
Resilience.
Exactly, how well you respond back, your resilient self, and resolve what's in front of you before it gets to you is going to help you not only maintain your day, but project that confidence about what Miss Regina said about yourself, and it was emphasized by Jamie. So be that center of your own universe first. It's all about you first, so that you can be self-aware with others. I'm going to thank you all three again for sharing your time with me today. I want to do this again. I'm glad I've met you. I'm glad I've built the relationship that we have, because identity is a constant. It's a day-to-day thing that we deal with routinely. And I want to make sure that check out Jamie and her Facebook page. If you need a photographer that's going to find out who you are, it's Jamie Alexander, as is evidenced by testimony today from Miss Regina in Egypt. Seek her out if you want to have a reflection of your image. You're welcome, my dear. You're very welcome. We're a couple of minutes before the show ends. Let me make sure that I honor Regina. Is there anything else you want to say to anybody about connecting with you and what the great services that you provide as a therapist?
Behavior services, so we do services. I'm also a traveling therapist, so I meet clients in their personal space. I do therapy walks, so me and clients, we go out to the park and do therapy walks. You can feel free to reach out to me anytime on my personal Facebook. And motto is, we are a village and we are here to heal together.
Good stuff. Regina, thank you so much for that remark. That primes me to offer you guys the last comment from me to end the show, which is about and this. I'm going to tell you right now, this has been difficult for me to feel like I have a voice to speak about it. I've talked to my athletes, who many of them are of color, and I asked them for advice about, do I have a right to speak? Should I speak? And they said, well, yeah, just be yourself. Just talk about who you are. And I've known that white privilege isn't about where you came from. It's about what you do or don't do.
Yes.
So I want to make sure everybody knows that I'm the only pale person in the room today. And I did it on purpose because I know that by my mere presence in any space, it can be perceived as privilege. And I make sure that when I see it misused and abused, that I take a step and make sure that I confront those who are abusing it and putting me in a position that I don't want to be in. I don't want my position in a line to give me advantage over anybody else. I don't want my presence to be looked at first before someone else. That's not what I'm about. And I understand it very clearly. And I'm going to continue to bring audiences and characters like these to the table so that I emphasize that I understand what white privilege is really all about, and it has no place in my world. Thank you again, you guys, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you for having us.
Have a great day. Be well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we're still on camera, but I'm going to tune off the mics.